Hey everybody, happy Saturday. Sorry I had to go live a little earlier than I usually plan to because I'm in mama mode this weekend and so we have a birthday party for kiddo to go to. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay and that everybody is having a good week and a good start to your weekends. So, hey Maddie, hey Lindsay, hey Hannah, how are you guys? Oops, that's not what I was trying to do. You couldn't miss this? Okay, I was literally like running around like crazy. Then I had to restart my router. So, I wanted to ask y'all, oh, you know what, Hannah? I didn't do anything to define my curls. I use the products that I usually use when I'm gonna blow my hair out, but I ran out of time, so I didn't get to. So my hair just sort of ended up air drying like this, and usually I'd probably throw it up in a bun, but I was like, let me just pull the front part back so it's not so crazy, because I felt like I was looking a little too sideshow bob-ish, but thank you. Oh yes, I was like, it's Leo season, we got to bring out the Whitney shirts. So hey Mimi, hey Ange, hey Juicy Fruit, hey Caitlin. Oh yay, I'm so glad to hear that, Maddie. Hey Carson. Hey Sophia, Ronette. I'm trying to make sure I say hi to everybody in the chat. Hey Danielle. Oh, Juicy Fruit. I'm on pretty much every Saturday. I just wasn't last weekend because I don't want to talk too much about it because I'll start crying again. But unfortunately, my friend Erica passed away. So I just had to kind of have a weekend to grieve offline. And those of you who've been here since the beginning with me or were on Station Head with us probably remember Erica, and unfortunately she's no longer with us, so I just had to take some time to process that. But listen, I feel like Leo season is like the turning point to kicking off like the rest of the year, which all becomes very social. I mean, I know people get social in Gemini and Cancer season because that's like the real beginning of summer or whatever, but I just feel like Leo season brings out that social butterfly in everybody, and then it sort of lasts the rest of the calendar year with all the holidays. So thank you guys. Hey KLD, I'm glad you were able to make it. So anyways, while I was getting ready, I was listening to Sloane's video about, Doja Cat and her weird boyfriend and the way that she talks to people. And I know that she's been releasing music. Have you guys been supporting her, or are you guys just completely done with her after all this behavior? I just wanted to know. I mean, we're going to talk about, Lizzo, and obviously she's going through her cancellation moment, but I was just curious if people were also canceling Doja. Just let me know in the chat. Oh, I'm sorry, Lindsay. I didn't even watch the video. I mean, the way that she talks to her fans alone would make me not want to support her in this upcoming, era or whatever you want to call it of hers. And then you add in all the demonic and satanic symbolism and bullshit, and it's just like, I think I'm okay off of you now. And it's sad because like I had so much hope for her because she is one of the few new girls who actually really truly has talent and isn't a Carisha or a Carlos where you're like, who the heck did you F to get into the industry? So I don't know. It's just like between those two things, and then you add in now the boyfriend stuff, and then I heard somewhere that she's supposedly back in the chat rooms, and I was like, I cannot support her. As great as any song that she could put out is, you know, no. And Nicki's gonna drop her album in a couple months. Like, I'm gonna just wait for Nicki. I just can't. I mean, you know, again, outside of the demonic stuff, when people treat their fans like shit, your fans as an artist are the reason why your music became popular. It's the reason why you have a record label deal. It's the reason why you get to live in the mansion and drive the car and go on the vacations and go to the award shows and everything. So how do you tell the people that are paying your bills that you hate them and that they can go F themselves and all of that kind of stuff? So Danielle, she sold her soul to Satan. So it doesn't matter if anybody else tried to put some malicious things on her or whatever, and next time talk about this stuff in Patreon anyways. But I've more than covered, you know, that this is her own self-sabotage stuff because she's pissed that she sold her soul to be where she is and that she's trapped with Dr. Luke and all that stuff, and she's taking it out on everybody else rather than looking within and dealing with that. So hey Black Charlie, oh, thank you so much. Exactly. I mean, that was like, if you guys have ever heard the leaked Michael Jackson calls where he's talking about Madonna, dude, he rips into her because she was rude to a fan, and he was like, you don't treat fans that way. They're the reason why you have what you have. How dare you? Like, they weren't like that. So, well, I mean, as far as Doja goes, the same way that Kesha was, it's like she's trapped in a contract with him, so she's forced to. But there's plenty of other people, you know, Nicki included, you know, let's be honest, that still choose to work with him, knowing everything that's being said, you know, about him. The town is dead. That's funny. So anyways, guys, I was like, let's get into the whole Lizzo situation, because I talked about this a little bit in Patreon yesterday, and if you want to join, that is where we talk about conspiracy theories, the Illuminati, religion, history, the real truth about everything, and that is the only place that I take requests for any videos. So all the topics that we are talking about today were chosen by my Patreons. But what I was saying is, you know, it's very normal, or maybe not normal, but it's something that happens often, I guess, you know, within the industry, that people do file complaints or lawsuits against celebrities who employed them. You know, Naomi Campbell threw a cell phone at her maid's face. Like, that kind of stuff isn't uncommon in the industry. But every time that there's like 35 people that want to come out of nowhere and start piling on and saying, I had a negative experience with this person too, seems like a dog whistle type phone call went through the industry, and it was like, everybody go and start talking about any negative experience you had with this person, or even go say that this or that thing happened, so that we can all dogpile on this person and cancel them and destroy them or lock them up or whatever the agenda is. So I'm curious to see what Spirit has to say about this. Hey, Handro, I'm glad you made it. Oh, I've never, you know what? I completely forgot that she had that show. Hey, Toke, how are you, babe? It really did. And I was like, see, this is why I don't be like ever like saying I feel bad for these damn celebrities or defend them, because every time I start to forgive JT, then she does something crazy. I said I felt bad for Ariana Grande because, you know, she was a child star, so we know they go through hella shit. And then the Scooter Braun aspect of things. And then... and then, you know, I was saying everybody needs to leave Lizzo alone because she, up until this, did not seem like she was somebody that, like, fucked with other people. You know, she wasn't like a Carlos or a Lotto within the industry that, like, starts beef with other people. So now I'm just like, I need to just learn my own lesson and be like, whatever. There's probably some hidden shit that's coming out about them and they deserve it. So just keep my mouth shut. So, yeah, that was just like out of nowhere. That all of a sudden, like, we all woke up and it was like, Lizzo's the worst person on earth. Don't support her anymore. So can you tell me, what is the real truth behind this lawsuit with Lizzo? Is there an agenda in the industry, or is it genuine that she did do these things? Thank you. Lizzo pulled the biggest catfish. I mean, if she was out here body shaming people, I'm just gonna say she had some damn nerve. And I'm gonna be really pissed at that part of it, because it's like, Lizzo, how dare you? I was literally sitting here telling people stop fat shaming you. And I don't even listen to your music, but I felt so sympathetic for you because people were being so damn mean. I don't know, like, I have to say, like, those memes that go around where people say that, like, Lizzo and Megan Trainor basically make the same music. It's just marketed to two different types of people. And it's like, yeah, I totally do see that, because, like, it is so kind of sometimes overly commercialized that I think maybe that's why I don't really get into it. But again, like I said, it was always, you know, I just felt like, especially people like Candace, that every single day, you know, there was, oh, let's get on Twitter and talk shit about how fat Lizzo is just because. So I didn't know that Candace actually defended Lizzo. I saw it was recommended to me, like, a clip of Candace talking about it, and I scrolled past it just because I assumed that since Candace usually hates Lizzo so much that it was just gonna be more dragging of her. So that surprised me. Well, that's the thing that pisses me off, because she was the poster child and the target for everybody to unleash their fat phobia on. And it was like, oh, I can't directly be mean to the people in my own life, but Lizzo's a public figure, so I'll just go after her constantly. And then, you know, now that this has happened, it is just going to make people be like, see, she was being mean to everybody too. So that it was going to do stuff like this, because we are in the pre-shadow phase of Mercury retrograde. We have multiple full moons this month. Venus is retrograde. Uranus is going retrograde. So all of those things mess with tech stuff. So it's definitely not me, though, you guys. If this stuff happens, trust and believe. I've said this a million times. AT&T, like, hates my guts because I've made them check my router and come out and do all this stuff multiple times, and they're always like, it's not us, we can't do anything about it. So I apologize, guys. It's YouTube. Okay. Or it might just be that it's so hot too, because my neighbor did say that when it gets really hot, it heats up all the fiber wires outside that run the internet, and that also causes it to buffer. So, well, even at that with Rick Ross. He's gotten away with so much shit. This is what I was gonna say before it started buffering, and I was like, oh crap, are we gonna have to deal with this the whole time? Rick Ross has done so much bullshit, from freaking, you know, the shit that he did to Nicki Minaj, all of the baby mama drama that he's always in. He's fat. He stole his whole entire, you know, aesthetic, name, everything from somebody else. He used to be a freaking cop, but now he wants to run around and pretend like he used to be some like big time like coke dealer in the streets and some kingpin he never was. Like, these had plenty of artists that came out and said that he fucked them over in contracts, but nobody ever has anything negative to say about his body size or any of that kind of stuff. So, oh no, Kay. Yeah, we're back into another heat wave starting today for the next few days. So that's why I said I was trying to be responsible and prepared and reset the router, because I was like, that's the only thing I can do to try to help things, and turned everything off in the house that was connected to the Wi-Fi before I got online. But there's not a whole lot you can do when it buffers, guys. Sorry about that. So let's see what the cards have to say about, you know, this whole situation. And exactly, I mean, this is the thing too, guys, that annoys the crap out of me when it comes to the music industry just in general. Number one, you know, they place such an importance on people's looks when the focus is supposed to be on the person's talent. They're not a model and they're not an actress that's trying to portray the role of like the most beautiful woman in the entire town or whatever. So who cares what somebody looks like? The focus should be on, are they a good singer, performer, dancer, rapper, singer, guitar player, whatever the heck it is that they're bringing to the table. But they put so much value on people's looks and then want everybody to look exactly the same, and you know, they all end up looking like fucking aliens or ants or something. And then that's how we end up with all these people that it's like, yeah, they're a pretty face like Carisha, but like, let's be fucking honest. If Carisha didn't look the way that she did, she never would have gone anywhere with trying to rap the way that she does. We tolerate it because she's cute. And, you know, same thing goes for Sweetie. Although I will say, I always feel like Sweetie's a better rapper than Carisha is, because at least you can understand what Sweetie says. So, boy. Alrighty, so let's get into Lizzo's lawsuit. Ooh, she has a couple. Okay. While there is some truth to some of the things that are being reported, it's coming up as being a lot of exaggerations, adding on mistruths, embellishing things, because there is some stuff going on behind the scenes where this is being motivated by people who see Lizzo and her popularity and where her career was really starting to take off as a threat. And they don't want to have to compete with her. On top of it, Spirit's saying that, because it is more than one person and more than one side to this. This used to happen a lot, you guys, back in the day, and I'm sure it probably still happens to this day, that sometimes record labels or movie studios, and this has been going on since the beginning of time, you know, would try to go out and find out dirt on artists or producers to like take them down and get them out of the way, because it's like, oh, you know, exactly, it's like a Nicki Minaj situation. Like, we have somebody who's nowhere near as talented, and we need to break them into the industry, and they're not going to have the success unless we get people that they would be compared to out of the way, you know? So it's like they had to destroy Nicki in order to build up Carlos. And I feel like Lizzo is the same way. And remember, by them pushing Nicki out, perpetuating the hate train on her, all of that stuff, yes, it was started by Atlantic because they had the investment in Carlos, and, you know, that paid off for them to take Nicki down to boost Carlos. But think about it. Other record labels and other, you know, and then they started bringing in Billboard or Rolling Stone or whoever else into the mix to add on to it. But other record labels started also jumping on that train, because it was like, oh, yeah, well, let's make sure that we add to the hate train, and let's make sure that we really do get her out of the way, because we would like to push some mediocre people too, because we also haven't been able to find anybody super talented. And, you know, that's how we're in the state of music that we are now. And it feels like while Lizzo is, you know, this is personal against her, it also feels like for some people, they're looking at it as a business move too, of, oh, well, let's hop on that train and let's add to it, so then we can break our own version of a Lizzo that we know nobody would accept otherwise if Lizzo was still being seen the same way. And because we do have the Emperor, and if you watch this channel enough, you would know that Jay-Z always shows up as the Emperor. He is definitely playing a part in this. And like I mentioned yesterday in Patreon, just notice how every time Madonna is around certain people, all of a sudden they start having problems. Notice how sometimes people really all of a sudden you think, oh, look at how buddy-buddy they are with Beyonce. And then all of a sudden a shitstorm comes their way as well. Adele, Megan, Lizzo. Just because you kissed her ass doesn't mean that it's going to save you from anything. Because if her and her husband, who are humongous gatekeepers in the industry, decide that they don't like you for whatever reason, or you got a little too big for your britches and people started comparing you guys too much, if they can't use you, they will destroy you. So there is also this Knight of Cups person who is also playing a part in helping to expose and bring her down. This is somebody that works, Spirit is saying, for a competing label. They're not as like big of a name as Jay-Z, which is why they would show up as the Knight of Cups compared to him, but they're trying to climb the ranks within their organization so that at some point they could be their own version of a Jay-Z. And so they're seeing this as their opportunity to also take advantage of a situation, because the High Priestess, this is the underlying energy, is talking about secret meetings, the occult, hidden knowledge, things that are going on behind the scenes and it being a bigger picture than what we're seeing on the surface. We just think, oh, all these people had enough of dealing with Lizzo, and because they spoke out, it gave other people who were afraid to say anything the courage to do it. But people are being paid or promised that they will be getting paid due to what they are exposing. You know, the sun can be the exposure card when it comes to these celebrities or these types of situations where it's talking about like all this stuff that comes up to the surface out of nowhere. So they definitely are trying to destroy Lizzo. They're hoping that this completely cancels her and that she's gonna have to either just, you know, pack it up and be like, I had a fun ride, or bust her ass to try to restore herself. And we know that a lot of times, yes, Hollywood does love a comeback story, and a lot of times, sometimes people do bounce back bigger than ever, like Nicki. Other people never gonna fully recover, like a Chrissy Teigen. So they're hoping, you know, that it's like, well, we don't care. We just need you out of the way right now so we can push somebody else in the front. And then whatever happens after that, you'll probably never ever fully recover from this. Even if it, you know, this is their thinking, I'm telling you guys. Even if it did come out that all of it wasn't true, because what have we seen from people? How many people to this day, even though nobody was ever able to definitively prove that Michael Jackson ever did anything to any child, and so much of the stuff got debunked, like him having CP, and then they go through his house after he died, and all they ever found was like straight people PORN. But there's still a ton of people out there who constantly are always going to say that Michael Jackson was a monster. So they always know that, you know, even if people do bounce back from being canceled, there's still always going to be a huge portion of people that are just going to say, I can't fuck with them because I still believe they were the bad person that they were portrayed to be. So, and that's the thing though, if you guys really go back and look, a lot of the people that have gotten canceled or had their careers derailed or got blackballed or whatever, and it was in association with the Carters, they're half the damn time people that they took out of the way were never really a threat to them because they either did different types of music or were in a different genre, but they don't care about that. Especially when you see how, you know, Beyonce, it's like they're trying to push her across all genres and make her be the most legendary artist of all time, regardless of, you know, if it's in pop, R&B, rock and roll. It's like, no, Beyonce surpasses all of that and she's the number one of all things. So you can't have somebody else be a number one in their category if somebody just wants to eclipse everybody and be the only star. I don't think that they are Black Charlie, because this is the thing. Lizzo doesn't have a strong enough fan base to really carry her through a huge hate train the way that Nicki or Chris Brown or Kanye West did, because they had a far longer time to build that fan base before their cancellations and accusations and things like that happened to them. And on top of it, a lot of the people that loved Lizzo and supported her was because of you're a body positive person and you represent acceptance and, you know, loving yourself regardless of like what societal standards are and being comfortable in your own skin. Now, the reason why they were drawn to her to become a part of her fan base in the first place has been compromised. You know, if you were following somebody because they're advocating for a cause that you're super into, like mental health, and then you find out that they're the biggest bully and they put a bunch of people in like a rehab and stuff like that to go deal with it, or all these people around them had to get therapy because they were so horrible. You don't have a connection to that person anymore once you find out that that's who they are, because it's like, well, you were lying the whole entire time. And that was the only reason why I really started like paying attention to you in the first place. So it's going to be hard for Lizzo to keep all of her fans through this, guys. It really is. She's going to lose a shit fucking ton of money behind this too, guys. A shit ton. This is going to have real bad implications on her. I mean, it really is going to cause a lot of harm to her brand. I feel like she's going to end up settling these lawsuits in order to not have more exposed. Yeah, Ellen's a perfect example of that too. A ton of people started following her because she was always preaching being kind and helping stray animals and shit like that. And then you find out that she's the biggest bully, and it's like, okay, well, now I can't look at her the same and I can't support anything she does, and I no longer find her funny or entertaining. But they knew exactly what they were doing and making sure that those are the accusations that were made against her. And especially, I listened to somebody break down, you know, everything that was being said or that she was being accused of, in particular, you know, the fat shaming comments. That one, you know, I don't feel like there's a whole lot of truth to it, because the girl is saying that they offered her therapy, that they came to her with concern about, are you okay? Because they were aware that she's had issues with eating and her weight in the past in relation to her mental health. And then the whole thing around that accusation was that things were implied. Nobody outwardly said, oh, bitch, you're so fucking fat, we can't work with you anymore, you're fired. It was other issues why they let her go, and that is something that I don't feel like there's going to be any payments made. Like, we'll settle the lawsuit, we'll give you payments that we forced you to feel like you had to go to the banana show, but nobody outwardly said anything. We came to you from a place of concern, so we're not paying you for the fat shaming claim. But that's the one that everybody made such a big fucking deal about on purpose, because they know that's what's gonna get rid of her fans. That's what's gonna make her fan base be turned off from her and not want to deal with her. So there will be, you know, payments and settlements that have to be made. And I do feel it being a case of like, just pay it off so that it goes away, so that we don't have to deal with this. Because obviously, if we go to court and then we drag this stuff out, then they can keep coming out and saying more and more and more things and bringing out more people that want to add and say, oh, I had such a horrible negative experience on my own of Lizzo, and I want to make a statement to court to help you guys, you know, whether it's to win the court of opinion or win the actual court case. So even though Lizzo will not feel like this is fair to her to have to pay for things that she doesn't feel like she did wrong, I do feel that her team around her is going to push her to do this so that they can move on from this situation and then try to, you know, come back and rebuild her career better. Don't be surprised, you guys, if this doesn't end her contract with Atlantic Records. we will look into Atlantic right after this, because I knew like Lizzo was their cash cow right now, and that's not any puns towards any of this stuff, it's just a saying. And now, you know, obviously, because they were already making budget cuts and stuff in that building, it's like, oh, well, now your little money maker ain't gonna bring you any money anymore. What the F are y'all gonna do? So we'll look at that. But I do feel like this could end the contract, because they always put, if you guys didn't know, in Hollywood, they put morality clauses in every single contract. Because think about it. If you sign somebody to, you know, be your ambassador for Nike, and then they get exposed as being a serial killer, obviously you don't want that person associated with your brand anymore, and it would be unfair if you still have to keep paying them to represent you. So they always have that, as they call it, like the kill switch clause, and the studios or the labels will then determine, is this bad enough to pull that kill switch? And I feel like in Lizzo's case, that would be a very big possibility, that they would cut ties just because they're already, you know, struggling. And it's like, it's not good for us to hold on to that when we're trying to really keep the lights on in the house in the first place. So Lizzo's really fucked in this situation, you guys. So let's see what is coming for her in the near future after all of this. Isn't that what's freaking hilarious when you think about it? That Barbie world, Nicki Minaj, is the one that's helping Atlantic keep the lights on right now. I mean, well, that's why Kanye took advantage of that, because he knew. I mean, if you guys really think that, and I did a whole breakdown of this, but if you guys really think that Kanye didn't know what the hell he was doing when he tweeted what he did, and he kept telling everybody that's why he was doing it. He was bragging. It took one tweet to get out of the contract that they wouldn't let me out of all this time. Because he knew, I have to push your hands and make you pull the kill switch to end this contract so I can walk away with my brands. Kanye's a lot smarter than people give him credit for. So let's see. Spirit, what is going to happen with Lizzo in the future after all of this? God makes no mistakes. I know. It really is the irony. Well, we know one person who needs to stay out of that battle, Lindsay, and that's Azalea Banks. Because Azalea Banks should never, ever try to do spiritual work ever again until she gets her own energy in a good place. Because the girl who's always screaming that she put a spell on somebody and was ruining somebody's career, it's like all those people that you said that you put in a jar or had on your list that she posted that one time or killed a chicken for, they all seem to still be thriving. Meanwhile, Azalea's just still doing the Azalea things that she does. Which again, like I said, she could have done a whole entire deluxe album and re-released Anna Wintour and Big Beatin', all of the songs that, you know, made her known and that were her best songs and stuff, and remastered it and came out with a deluxe version of the album or something, and taken advantage of the height of the house music craze. But she would rather sit on Twitter and bitch and complain about everybody else than take advantage of a moment so that she could put herself back out there and get the career that she's always wanted. So Don't ever be so stuck in your hatred of other people or so stuck in your jealousy that you think other people made it when you didn't, that you are so laser focused only on the hatred that you don't see all the opportunities that are out there that you could have taken advantage of to put yourself in the same position. I mean, that's a big lesson that we can learn from her. I know. That's why I said, I was like, I ignored so much about what Azalea would say because I still loved her music, and that was a real case of trying to separate the art from the artist. But then once she said all the stuff that she said about Jackie O, I was just like, okay, listen. Now I can't force myself to ignore everything else anymore and still keep listening and supporting you. So, Azalea, if your royalties from streaming are short a few bucks, I apologize, but keep your mouth shut and the next time. And the reason why I say a few bucks is because if y'all don't know, like, they make like 1/8 of a penny for every stream. So it's like, if she lost a bunch of the few fans that she had left, you know, it's like, what were we doing? Like, by listening to her songs daily, probably giving her an extra $5 a month. And hopefully that wasn't something she super depended on. So Lizzo is going to have such a freaking struggle to try to come back from this, you guys. And I feel like there is a moment, you know, where she comes out, she's apologizing, I made all these changes. She might even go get pregnant or lose a bunch of weight, you know, because people love to go change up their whole entire image when they try to come back again in order to, look, I really did change, and you could see it on the physical too, and I'm in a better place now. Look how healthy I got. Obviously, I spent all this time like really working on myself, guys. It kind of starts to make it seem like, oh, Lizzo's gonna make a comeback because people are finding it to be genuine. However, somebody is gonna pop up right back out and be like, that bitch screamed at me the other day at the gym. She's not any different. She tricked all of you. And then we're right back at square one again, where it's like everybody's dragging her all over again. And it's like, we knew just because you went and got on Ozempic, that didn't change who you are. And it's just, this is the thing, guys, that keeps showing up. It's like everything that she does, it's a battle against the people that want to keep bringing up what she did, or saying that she hasn't changed or that she's not any different. And everything that she does have going forwards, she has to work 10 times as hard to get, you know, like pennies compared to what she used to have. So, not good. She will get another label deal, though, if she does get dropped by Atlantic. But it won't be nearly as, you know, oh, you got this, like, amazing deal or anything. It's more like, we'll give you a chance. Please, God, don't fuck this up. But you're going to have to, like, really bust your ass and do a lot of things on your own. A lot of your own marketing, a lot of your own, like, proving yourself to people. We're not going to throw all of our, like, full effort behind you in your rebrand. We need to see you prove to us even as the label. So, this is crazy, you guys. And it does make me feel bad for her. Like I said, I do feel like she's been bitchy, and I do feel like she was a little self-centered and trying to, like, get people to just go along with whatever, kiss her butt, be all excited that it's like, oh, you get to work with Lizzo, so you better walk on eggshells. But Was it as bad, or did she really do all of the stuff she's being accused of? No. But do you guys see, too? Let me just tell you guys something real quick, because I have pointed this out before. When artists are actually genuinely talented, and on top of it, they're not only pushing the agenda of drugs, put your pussy in everybody's face for $1, violence, any of that stuff, what happens? They get targeted. Tory Lanez, Chris Brown, Lizzo. If you are a talented person and you can sing about something or rap about something other than your fucking ass or getting money from people or popping a perk or committing violence, the industry don't like you, because they know with truly talented people, guess what happens? You can become a Tory Lanez, because look what Tory was doing before all of this shit happened to him. He was, not only did he go independent and was making it and doing even bigger and better as an independent artist than he did when he was on a label, but he was encouraging all these other artists, whether it was upcoming artists, stay single, stay independent, or telling other artists not to re-sign their contracts when they ended and to go the independent route or to only sign distribution deals. So they had to get him out of the way because he was a threat. Because guess what? When it's you, when you're a Lizzo, when you're a Tory, when you're a Chris, when you're a Nicki, when you're a Michael Jackson, you can tell the powers that be, go fuck yourself. Because I can still create music on my own. I can still have a fan base on my own. I can still do all of this without you. So what is the motivation for you to allow yourself to be as heavily controlled, or to sign a 360, or to be like, yeah, you know what, you're right, I'm going to go dress up like covered in blood and roll around with Satan in my music video because you guys want me to do that? But when you are a Carisha or a Carlos and everybody has to do everything for you, whether it's make the song and then hand you the piece of paper and say, go read this in the booth, and then even stand in the booth with you and show you exactly how you're supposed to rap that song, you can't do any of this without them. You're gonna go roll around with Satan covered in blood in a music video. You're gonna go out there and tell everybody to look at your butt. You're gonna go out there and promote and do whatever the hell they want you to do. And you're gonna sign the 360s because it's like, this is my only way of getting up out of the hood and putting me and my family on. And I wouldn't make it. I wouldn't have these opportunities any other way, because I am incapable of making my own music. I am incapable of writing anything. I am incapable of doing any of this on my own. So honestly, like, it sucks and it's sad as fuck, but like, I feel like Lizzo got dropped in that same category of, we got to destroy them because they might get too big for their britches. And then once she's destroyed, she's going to have to depend on us to come back and rebrand. And then she'll do whatever we tell her to do. And she'll have whatever amount of success we allow her to have. So, I mean, y'all need to go to Dario De Niro's channel, because he breaks it down all the time how these people are not really richer than us. They just have bigger lines of credit than us. They're just able to qualify for millions of dollars of loans from labels or banks or whatever, you know, but we have more financial stability and more control over our own lives than any of they do. Hey, Parker TV. Hey, Ethereal Goddess. Hey, Kenya. I'm glad you guys made it. So, well, Hallie, I feel like she's always going to be pushed more in the acting world, whereas they're going to push Chloe more in the music scene. And yeah, they'll both do their own things where they cross over. But for the most part, they're going to try to establish Hallie as like the next Julia Roberts, you know, or Meryl Streep. What's her face from How to Get Away with Murder? Oh my God, why can't I think of her name right now? Viola Davis, you know, where it's like, not only are you known as an actress, but you're that go-to marquee name that we can throw in a comedy, a drama, a action movie, whatever, and people are still gonna want to see you play those roles. So, but alrighty, so let's see what's gonna happen with everybody's favorite label, Atlantic. Because the stories that I've been hearing, whether it's on blogs, blind gossip sites, I know Tasha K has made some accusations against them. I don't watch Tasha or really follow her, but I just see like other people saying what she has said, you know, like in comments here and there, or it gets reposted on some blog or whatnot. But everybody's, you know, basically talking about how Atlantic is just on the struggle bus right now. So I think Zendaya's still gonna get pushed too, though. Because this is the thing about Zendaya, she's captured such a strong audience. And I think that maybe she has a little bit more of an like edgier audience that maybe doesn't connect so much with Halle Bailey because of the, you know, Euphoria. Which honestly, as much as I'm not a fan of that show, and I'm not a fan of like all the people that are connected to that show, because I know that they're not wonderful people like Sam Levinson, but I will say it was, if you guys haven't noticed, like people always do this whole rebellion thing when they get away from being like a Disney or a Nickelodeon kid. So you had Miley Cyrus's twerkathon across the country, you know, and her sticking her tongue out everywhere and acting like she was so sexy and edgy. And obviously she's calmed way down from where she used to be. But they always go through that whole, I'm not the little good girl, the goody two shoes, you know, on Disney Channel. This was Zendaya being on Euphoria, that was her way of, you know, casting herself out of the Disney princess shadow and pushing herself to be seen as somebody who can play grittier roles and have, you know, a different type of career and following outside of that, which was good because I don't think people would have supported Zendaya as much if she'd gone a full Miley Cyrus, I'm gonna run around with my ass out, sticking my tongue out at everybody route. But I think that she's kind of garnered a little bit of a different crowd, even though they're in the same age group, than maybe Halle Bailey has. So I don't think that they're really gonna be like huge competition to each other, if that makes sense. Because like I said, I do feel like they're gonna try to push Halle as, even though, you know, even her and Chloe have talked about that Halle's not actually the sweet little innocent one, it's Chloe, and that Halle's like secretly like the hood girl that'll like drag you. But I think that they're totally gonna try to package Halle up as more of the good girl and force Chloe to be the bad girl, because Chloe's trying to be the music girl and they're trying to package Halle as the actress. So, that's why I think that it comes across so much as like not genuine when it comes to Chloe, because she's really is like, she's more supposed to be the shy sweet one, and they're like, no, Chloe, go roll around on all the stages and hump the microphone while you wear a leotard up your ass. And that's why people are just like, that doesn't seem like the Chloe that we were like used to. So, you know, when they make you try to be something you're not, it never translates well. Because think about it. Rihanna could get away with that because Rihanna's never been seen as the sweet little innocent girl that just loved Jesus and her mama so much, the same way that people thought of Chloe. So, did you guys like Hallie's solo music that she dropped? What did you guys think of that song? I liked it, but I will agree because I saw a comment where somebody was saying it's a beautiful song, but it's more like the type of song that you put to close out your album, or maybe like on a like soundtrack to a movie or a TV show. It's not a song that people are going to repeatedly listen to because it's impossible for most of us to sing along with it in the keys that she put it in and everything, where it's like, if she gave us a little bit of a break, at least on the first one, then we could like, yeah, I've been singing along to that song all day long, and then that's where you get more, you know, kind of people hooked. So RCA tried to do the same with Jordan Sparks. Oh my God. I know. Jordan Sparks was such a talented singer and they let her just fall off. Like, when you think about that, so beautiful, has such a good voice. But I bet you anything, she probably wouldn't play all the industry games. Because Jordan Sparks definitely was really that, like, goody two-shoes, I love Jesus, and my mama kind of girl. So I could totally see her being like, I'm not selling my soul to no Satan. I'm not doing all this dumb shit you all want me to do. Oh, they totally do. I mean, RCA, I've talked about that, I think probably on one of my most recent lives that we did over here. The RCA has always been known that they'll play the worst of the industry games and sign people just to shelve them so that other artists, whether it's on their own label or other labels, and they're getting a cut on the backside of it, you know, so that they can promote the other person and make them bigger and hold them back. That's what's happening to Normani with RCA. Because the industry decided we want to support other people, and Normani would just only be in the way and be competition to them. So just keep her on a shelf. And whatever happened, I thought Normani was going to put out an EP or something. What happened to that? Listen, I still listen to No Air. Jordan Sparks and Chris Brown on a track together? Heck yes. I love Chris Brown's voice. That's why I started getting into Tori, because everybody kept telling me, if you like Chris Brown, you should check out this guy Tori, and I'd never heard of him, and I started listening to him, and I was like, oh my God, he's so good. Ooh, good. Normani has new management. Oh my God, I forgot about that she dated Sage the Gemini. Oh, cool. I feel like whoever this new manager is gonna push her in movies and TV. Like, put her on some type of a show like The Idol or a Euphoria type of a show. But this is the thing, you know, that we got to keep in mind. If it's your label that's holding you back, you can get 100 new managers and agents. It's up to the label, though, at the end of the day, if they're going to let you release the music or not. So if RCA is still against her, she can have every manager in Hollywood, but they're gonna have to convince RCA to let her work or let her put out music. So if they still can't, then they're gonna have to start pushing her in other places, like acting or being an influencer or something, so that she still has something coming in and keeps her name out there until RCA either lets her out of her contract or finally decides to give her her spot. So okay, let's see what Spirit has to say about Atlantic Records. It's like I gotta stay on topic because now it's like I got half an hour and then I gotta get off of here because I gotta take kiddo to his friend's party and he will kill me if I am late. So y'all know how 12-year-old boys are. It's like, you told me we're gonna leave at a certain time, we better be leaving at that time or I'm gonna give you hell for it. So okay, this hasn't been talked about yet, obviously, but I do feel that there has been some behind the scenes of not only have they been, you know, sort of like going over the books and being like, who are the artists that are costing us money versus the ones that are actually bringing anything in, but also it's like Spirit's talking about trying to raise funds. Like, can we get a loan? Can we get our parent company to invest more in us so that we do have the opportunity to try to turn this ship around before it's too late? I don't feel that going the way that they are expecting it to, because Spirit's talking about there was already money that like kept getting like traveling down, you know, from the parent company, Warner Brothers, and they were like, okay, we already gave you this. We already also, because Spirit's saying some of the soundtracks that have been produced for some of the big movies that Warner was the, you know, producer of that movie, normally it would make more sense for then Warner's music label to also be the ones that released the soundtrack accompanying it, but they have allowed Atlantic to do so, trying to please the shareholders and investors by giving them a chance to bring, you know, more money in through that way. However, what Spirit's saying is it's like it didn't help, or it only helped for a short time and then they were right back to losing money again. Do not be surprised if Atlantic and Warner don't end up becoming the same company within the next 2 years or so. I think that they're gonna give it until about this time next year. It's like you have a year, turn everything around and fix it, and if you can't by then, we're just going to throw everything under this one label, have everything under one spot. A lot of people will be cut from their contracts and let go. It will be very slimmed down. They're going to let people go off of Warner too, because Spirit's saying Warner's music department ain't doing that great either. Right now as a company, Warner is good because they have the Barbie movie and the soundtrack, but this is the thing. As a company, you would want to have a Barbie movie and a Barbie soundtrack often, because you can't feed everybody off of one thing forever. So if they don't keep all of the, you know, if they don't keep putting out Barbie movies and Barbie soundtracks, they're fucked. It's like, yeah, you got a lot of money right now, but it still doesn't cover up for all the money you didn't make and all the money that you won't make going forwards. So it is going to be closed. This is definitely karma. The devil card's coming up about it being karma. Oh boy. Yep. That's going to be interesting. And I just want to ask one more question about how does Atlantic feel about Carlito? Nikki gave them extra time, right? Spirit, please tell me. But Spirit's saying we'll see this happen to other labels going forwards too. Because I posted about this in Patreon, but because, you know, I've been telling you guys that the industry is like dry. They don't have anybody that they can see as being the future Beyonce, the future Nicki Minaj, the future Lil Wayne, the future Lil Drake, or not Lil Drake, but Drake, you know. They don't have big people, the future Jay-Z's even. They do not have people like that currently that are, you know, known, or anybody that may be signed anytime soon. So if all of these big legends, you know, become the next Queen Latifahs and MC Lights, where it's like I come out and perform once in a while, but I'm not, you know, active in the music industry anymore, do you know how fucked they're gonna be? So that's why it's like there's been such a, let's just keep putting all these TikTok people out there because it's quick money grabs. Let's just put all these industry plants out here. You know, they sink or they swim, but at least we made money off of them because we signed them under a 360. That's going to catch up with all of these labels. They're all going to start to crumble down and have to consolidate with each other. And there is going to be more and more people who decide not to take the traditional, you know, record contract industry label route and do things independently. They're going to end up having to rely on AI music, you guys, if they want to stay open. That's what Spirit's saying. You know, it's like Atlantic will be the first to fall, but it will be a domino effect where only the biggest labels that really do have the best, biggest selling artists will be able to sort of ride this out. So I said the industry needs a complete rehaul. We need a culture reset and a shift because we accepted the dumbing down of music. We accepted all the stripper rap and the mumble rap and the lean rap and all of the, this person is so freaking untalented, but at least they're pretty. And look at how much that has bit us in the fucking ass because it's either let's go get on our hands and knees and beg and scream and cry that Nicki Minaj and Rihanna will like save us and give us some damn music, or I guess we better start getting excited about listening to robots sing songs. So, well, that's the thing. It's like, think about it, you guys. During the pandemic, what happened? You know, because I know we're in the you know, strikes and everything right now with the writers and the actors and stuff, but nobody could work in the beginning of the pandemic either. Like, how many celebrities did we see that suddenly decided to become influencers or start OnlyFans? And what was everybody getting all their entertainment from? YouTubers and TikTokers. I mean, that's why some of these people blew up so much, and that's why those apps blew up so much, because we weren't tuning into traditional media, and we were already, like, the needle was already shifting in that direction anyways, but especially since that has all happened, because it's like almost like a habit. You taught people to smoke cigarettes, and now that's what they want to keep doing. And it's like we discovered, like, oh, like, I don't need to have Hulu and watch the Kardashians. Like, I can entertain myself on YouTube all day long if I want to, or on TikTok or whatever. And then people started discovering, like, I can do that too. I could make money too. It's gonna keep going more and more and more, a lot like that. So we'll see far less people, because think about it. If I was gonna be a rapper, say I had talent in rapping and I really was like an up and coming artist, it would seem way more desirable for me as an artist to take an independent route and take advantage of TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever app is out there, rather than, oh my God, I hope Columbia Records sees me and signs me. Because now I got to split everything I make with Columbia Records, versus if I'm doing it on my own, I get to keep all of it. And then I'm completely 100% in control of my career and the type of music that I can make. So I think that, you know, the same way that, look at how the generation after me all just decided, like, we're not going to be sexually harassed at work. We're not going to go into work if I can do the same job from my house. I'm not going to put up with bullshit. I'm not going to sit here and work for pennies on the dollar and devote my whole entire life to this company. And so we had the mass resignations, people starting their own businesses, people going their own direction. The same thing is going to happen in every single arena of life, and the entertainment industry, especially with the failure of the labels, all of these strikes. We're going to see this take place over time. And the next thing you know, guys, we're going to see a lot of shows being produced by normal people and only being aired on YouTube. We're going to see a lot of musical acts only wanting to do their own thing and not wanting to be signed. And that's going to take down a lot of these studios and labels. But all these studios and labels have spent their whole entire existence just going after people so they can exploit them, and then killing them even because they feel like, oh, well, this artist would be worth more dead than alive, and fucking with people's careers and taking advantage of them. So it's like, do we feel bad, or is that just karma? Yep, because it is the age of revolution. And so this time it's not, you know, because they were saying that with the different planetary placements, the last time that we had some of these was like during the Industrial Revolution. So there's going to be a lot of innovation and change in people streamlining things and creating new ways and new waves to do it. And it will all be like technology based this time around. I just want to see how Atlantic feels about Carlos and what from their end they're planning on doing with her. And then we'll talk about Ciara and Future and whatever the cards have to say about that. And then somebody wanted to know if Ciara's career will ever bounce back fully. Okay. Do you know what's funny is, okay, I'll show you these cards that pulled up in the underlying energy. Spirit is saying that Carlos and her label have some beef with each other right now. Like actual, like, fighting happening. Okay, remember I told you guys that they are taking a wait and see approach with her. And I've told you guys, Carlos can spin shit all she wants, however she wants. I got pregnant again. I had another BBL. I got another nose job, so I needed to recover, and that's why I didn't put out an album. Oh, I decided I didn't like any of the songs I recorded, so that's why I didn't put out another album. Oh, I'm going to drop my album soon. I wanted to make sure that the sun was going to be in 0 degrees Pisces, so I had to wait for that to happen. So there's always some bullshit excuse, right? Guess what the fucking truth is, what I've been telling all of y'all? It's because they are not letting her put this album out. If she would have got off her fucking ass and did it back when she dropped WAP or Up, then things would be different. Now, because it has been very hit or miss when she has released any of her own singles, when she has been on anybody else's songs. She is doing her feature run on purpose, trying to prove to Atlantic that she can pull in some numbers somehow so that they will release the budget, that they will release the album, and they will work with her. But she is fighting against her own label. They have her on a timeout, and they feel like she has been nothing but a disappointment to them and difficult to work with because she's lazy. She didn't want to capitalize when they wanted to push her on stuff. They still kept giving her chances, and none of it has paid off, right? So let's see. Okay, they're blocking giving her the money so that she can drop. Money is not there anyways, and because it's like we have to hold on to every single dime that we make right now, we're only writing checks or giving budgets out to people, you know, that we know they're gonna make the return on the investment. They do not see her as profitable. They actually are seeing her as a foolish investment and an ultimate waste of time. If she doesn't drop some, because whatever single that she's coming out with next, it is the final test, is what Spirit is saying. It's like, if this doesn't blow up and take off, we're not letting you release this album at all, and we will wait that 7 years for the contract to come up and then part ways with you. So because it's talking about, you know, that's 7 years since she signed the contracts, if you guys didn't know, in California. And I think it's in general anyways within the entertainment industry, you cannot have somebody signed to a contract for more than 7 years. Because then they can say like, oh, it's basically slavery and you won't let me put anything out, so I'm not making music but in money, but you're making me adhere to this contract, you know. So if they wait that 7 years and nobody delivers on either side, then the other one can walk away cleanly, and then either, you know, they could sue Carlos because it's like, you never upheld your end of the bargain in our contract. You didn't make the efforts to put out the music that you were supposed to. Or they could just make a clean break and be like, okay, Carlos, like, you still have to pay us back the $360, or we're just going to completely erase that debt or whatever. But they are thinking about just letting her ass stay on ice if she can't produce on, you know, anything before they get towards the end of this contract. And from what I have read, ends next year. But there is going to be a separation between her and Atlantic before she ever does put out the required amount of albums that she signed that original contract for. I do not see her getting signed anywhere else after that happens. I see her going in a completely different direction in her career. That's where we will probably get that reality show that I've been telling you guys. You know, it's like they'll revive the T.I. and Tiny Family Values show and put Carlos and Off-Cheat in it, but it'll probably air on like the Zeus network, because I don't even think people on VH1 give a shit to watch her. And Atlantic will move on. They actually have a male artist that they're going to be supporting more. Actually, there's a few other male artists. This feels like they might end up trying to sign like a K-pop group, like a male K-pop type group. to see is that what's gonna pay off, and then there's another male artist that they're gonna try to push. This feels like Don Toliver or somebody like him, or a Jack Harlow, somebody that's more universally appealing, both because of their image and the music that they put out, and then being far less problematic and way more likable than her. And then, like I said, I feel this other like K-pop or boy band type group that's younger that they're gonna push to appeal to that market. That will pay off for them somewhat, but it's not going to completely save Atlantic because, you know, between the Lizzo situation and the Carlos situation, and they have other artists that haven't delivered either, it's like they're still going to be struggling. You can't be a big label and have 3 artists that are doing good or 3 groups that are doing good and all the rest of them are just under delivering, you know, struggling or whatever, and think that like the whole label is still gonna survive. It doesn't work that way. You know, even Nicki, even Rihanna, even Beyonce, like couldn't carry a whole label on their back if they didn't have other people doing well too. I need to listen to Don because he always comes up in it. Just people always talking about, you know, that he's a good artist. He seemed like a cool person in his Joe Budden interview. And, you know, I gotta take a listen. Do you guys like Kali Uchis's music too? Because isn't that his girlfriend's? So, well, exactly. I mean, Scooter Braun signed the guy that just did the song with Lotto. I don't want to mispronounce his name, so I'm not even going to attempt to say it. But I was like, you know, Scooter's promoting him, so I feel like because K-pop has made such a big crossover, you know, had such a big crossover moment anyways, that we will see US-based or UK-based labels trying to come out with their own K-pop groups now too. Okay, is it pronounced Jung or Young? Because I know that it can go either way, and I'm not sure how Koreans pronounce it. Listen, as an Italian kid who got their name butchered their entire life growing up, never heard any people that are related to me's names ever pronounced properly, whether it was the last name or the first name. I am always hypersensitive about trying to make sure I pronounce things properly. Unless you're a horrible, evil person, and then you're just going to get an awful nickname from me and be known as Mucus for the rest of your life, as far as I'm concerned. So, the first Jung with a J, is that how you pronounce it? So, I'm going to go listen to Callie and Dawn on the way back from taking my kids to this party. I'll let you all know if I became a new fan or what. All right, let's move on to Future and Ciara. Okay. Let's see what Spirit has to say. See, Future is somebody else that's kind of fallen off too. Do you guys notice that? Like, there was a time where everybody wanted Future on their song or to make a song with him. Everybody was super into Future. And now, like, the only time that you ever hear about him is when it's in connection to some drama, usually with Ciara and Russell. So, oh my God. Did she? I never saw that. Mucus paid $250,000 for a Future feature. Whew. Well, I didn't even know she had a damn feature from Future. So that's like a damn tongue twister. Say Future feature 3 times fast. I end up sounding like the drunk that she is, trying to say that over and over again. I didn't even know that they had a damn song together. So I was like, that obviously did not pay off. And I'm surprised that he could even charge that much still, to be honest with you. I would have thought it would have been more like 100 or 150, seeing as that, because remember, like back in the day, if Future was on your song, it was guaranteed to at least move up a few spots on the Billboard. The song was horrible with the lyrics and flows, but I love the beat. That was hilarious of him to do. I'll give him that. Screw the chorus. Did he just do it on purpose? I mean, was it like how when like Carlos wanted Kanye to give them a feature and he just did it as a favor for Off Cheat and gave her the worst fucking feature and verse of her entire life? And that's where you know, you guys, that Kanye really only did that shit as a favor to Off Cheat and that he did not give 2 fucks about it. Because anybody who knows anything about Kanye as an artist knows this is the man that went and took a sample, flew to Timbaland with a 1/8 of a second drum sample that most people wouldn't even freaking hear in the track because he couldn't get the drum to sound the way that he wanted it to, and Timbaland fixed it for him. So you're gonna tell me, and Kanye was known for that he would literally take little milliseconds of a song and tweak and tweak and tweak it until it sounded exactly the way that he wanted to, even though everybody else in the room would be like, I couldn't even, like, my ears couldn't even keep up that fast to hear that part of it. But he was okay with giving that verse and having that verse released. It was on par with the Drake poopity scoop, poopity doopity scoop. And honestly, he did a better job on the Lift Yourself track when he did poopity scoop just to piss off Drake. That was a better verse and he put way more effort into that one. So that's what I was like, if you ever hear some trash like that, like hot shit, and Kanye was involved in it, you know he didn't try. He did not give 2 fucks. He didn't try. He probably recorded that on his damn phone in the bathroom and texted it to Off Cheat and was like, do whatever the fuck you're gonna do with it, I'm out. So, dude, listen, petty Kanye is hilarious. I will never, like, I saw the other day somebody reposted when he said Haley knows Job Baldwin. Why is that so funny? But it just is. Well, and it sounded like Dirk didn't try either. Like, it literally sounded like Kanye and Dirk went in the McDonald's bathroom, rapped real quick, and then walked out after they washed their hands and then ate their food and texted it over to Off Cheat. And they were just like, we were hungry. We didn't give a shit. We recorded it in the car. So okay. Well, this is the first thing that comes up about why Future is always, like, you know, trying to connect himself to Ciara. Spirit is saying he feels like, even though to the rest of us, you know, this is his perspective. Let's just keep this in mind. I'm not saying that I agree with it or any of us should. He feels like the way that Ciara portrays not only herself, but like the situation and the relationship that happened with him, and then her subsequent, oh, look, I met Russell Wilson and glowed up and now I have the best life thing, is like an exaggeration. Like, oh, she's playing the victim and sympathy card. she's, you know, portrayed herself to be, oh, look at, you know, I went through my down moment and then I came up and now I have the love of my life and everything is perfect. And he was just the most hideous monster. He's a deadbeat. He cheated on me all the time. He was awful. And Future feels like we both did wrong shit to each other. And you basically threw me under the bus and elevated yourself. And so he is a little bit jealous that public perception seems to favor her and Russell over him. So at the same time, Spirit is saying that he also knows if he wants something that he puts out to go viral, all he has to do is throw a diss in at either one of them, and then people are going to obviously go run and listen because it's like, oh my god, he's dissing Russell Wilson again, or he's dragging Ciara again, or he said some more toxic shit. But at the same time, it's like he hates that that's what he has to resort to doing. And the other thing is too, the Spirit saying, it's like he leaned into that. Oh, y'all want to call me the face of toxicity? I'm gonna be the most toxic guy. I'm gonna live and breathe that energy and own it and troll you guys with it. But then he's getting mad because he leaned into that. So he needs some therapy. I mean, I think Future needs therapy anyways, but especially when it comes to this situation, because it's like, you attached yourself to this and then you get mad that people associate you with it, but then you still try to do it all over again and associate yourself with it to take advantage of it, but then you get mad, and it's just like an endless loop. Spirit is saying he will continue to keep doing this though, because it pays off financially for him. Think about this. Would I have ever freaking known that Future just put out this damn song? No. The reason why I do is because everybody was freaking reposting about it on the blogs that he talked about them. So, you know, it is what it is, but it's like, I wouldn't have known that you were even putting out any more music either if you hadn't dragged them into it. So, but he still sees the benefit in it, so he's going to keep doing it. Well, that's the thing, Mimi. He's got other baby mamas that he could drag or diss, and I'm sure some of his other baby mamas have other men in their life at this point. So, but Future's still having money problems, so he will lower himself to try to do what he needs to do to bring the money in, because he doesn't want to compromise the lifestyle that he gets to live. So as far as Ciara goes, okay, do you know, I feel like her, Kelly Rowland's, probably a few other girls. I mean, maybe Kelly Rowland. She's kind of on the fence about this, but I do feel like at some point we're going to end up seeing Ciara and maybe like a couple other women of her caliber within the industry that have sort of, you know, had their heyday in the past, and we're kind of like, do we like them? Do we not? Are we gonna still be into them, you know? But we like the lifestyle or the story. We're just not sure about the music, or maybe the music just isn't like supporting them. I feel like they're gonna end up doing some kind of a show, like a combination of almost like a Real Housewives / Hollywood Divas type show that follows around some of the girls from that crew. We'll probably see Lala on it, because Lala is everybody's friend and shows up on everybody's show for some screen time. But I feel like, you know, the women on the show will try to obviously use it as like a launch pad, like, oh, people are paying attention to me again, so maybe I should put out more music, but I don't see it going, helping the music stuff. I see it almost kind of like putting them in this box of like, well, now you're a real housewife. We're not really exactly like seeing you as a musician anymore. Some of the people, it'll benefit them a bit, but some of them it won't. This is the thing with Ciara. I don't see her music career blowing up or recovering or going anywhere near what we used to see her. Like, you know, it's like she'll never get back to that status that she used to have. But this is the thing that Spirit is also saying, where Ciara needs to get real with herself when it comes to this. Because she wants to be, and was telling Russell this too, that she wanted to be a mom, a housewife, maybe have, you know, like a little side business, like we have a kids boutique, or we sell custom blankets, or, you know, kind of a little fun vanity project thing that she could do to have some money of her own and feel like she's still important and has something to do. However, it's like once she kind of started to take that step back a little bit, then all of a sudden it was like, oh, well, because people are paying so much attention to me in this new version of my life, maybe I should go try to restart my music career and try to jump back into that. But Spirit's saying it's like, number one, she's still trying to do the same music that she did before, and that does not fit into today's times and what people are currently listening to. And then if we did want to listen to that kind of music, we're going to go listen to your original singles. We're not going to listen to the new ones that you put out that you tried to make sound like the original ones. And some of the stuff that she's put out kind of sounds almost like kids boppy. And so she doesn't know who she is in this phase of her life. Do you want to be the rich and famous singer, dancer, performer, and still have that career? Or do you want the life that you were showing off and telling everybody you wanted? Because they don't mix anymore. And it is causing some issues within her household. And I do feel like there was a kind of come to Jesus moment between her and Russell, where it was like, he doesn't want that. He wants to know if, you know, we're going to stay on the same path that we agreed to be on when we got together in the first place. You told me these are the things that you wanted. That's why I married you, because I wanted those same things too. And now you want to change it. And I've tried to be as supportive as I can, but it's not my vibe. And I agree with you, Sana, that I do feel like this was maybe a little bit of a save the marriage baby. Because I do feel like they were having some issues, and you're right on, where every time I would see pictures of him, he didn't seem so happy anymore. He seemed really happy in pictures with the kids, but when it was just like the two of them, and you would see like paparazzi pictures of them like walking the streets in Italy during Fashion Week, like he would look so fucking pissed off when he thought that like nobody was really super paying attention to him. So right, Kay, I'm like, I would love the fucking simple life. Give me a freaking house out in the country. I'm gonna bust my ass working. I can just like chill with my kid and have pets and cook and do stuff. Like, oh my God, like that sounds like a dream come true. But she misses the industry stuff. She wants the fame. She wants the fortune. I don't feel like, you know, like I said, I see that she will take a step back for a while to have this kid, to try to save the marriage, to try to kind of like, you know, get life back on track. They'll seem like they're super happy for a while, but then the industry is gonna come calling again. And that's where, okay, first of all, it's gonna come up that, you know, from Russell's point of view, we don't need the money. I make enough money. I will start you any business you want. You don't need the money. Tower card moment. Yeah. Somebody's gonna cheat, y'all. And I don't feel like it's gonna be him. And it's gonna be with somebody a little bit younger, because it's coming up as a Knight of Cups. And it's like, oh, I worked with somebody, not Chris Brown, but like, you know, maybe a Jacques type of a person or something. We were in the studio making music. I started having an emotional attachment to this person. At the same time, me and my husband are fighting constantly because me wanting to go run off and be a pop star again, you know, when I said I didn't want to anymore, like, is causing a humongous strain on my marriage. This guy is sitting here being like, Ciara, you're the best singer ever. You need to keep doing this for the rest of your life. And next thing you know, they're making out in the studio. And girl, please stop yourself before you get there, because you will not be fucking happy if you let your marriage get destroyed chasing a dream that is not going to come true. And people are not going to be super tuned in to be like, let's support Ciara. Her marriage fell apart, especially when stories start coming out, because you know how it is. It's always sources said. Everybody's gonna flock to support Russell and not her. You know what? I take what I said back earlier. I will somewhat be like, let me give a little bit of credit to Future when he was upset that everybody falls for the I'm Miss Little Innocent act. And he felt like he got blamed for everything and thrown under the bus because, again, maybe she was doing some shit to him. I mean, again, and he, from his point of view, it's like we both messed up, but you made it like I was the only one that did. Maybe Future has a little bit of a point. Right? Or it's like the dad that won the homecoming game in football in college and then spends the rest of his life drinking on the porch talking about his winning touchdown, even though 40 years later he's an accountant. And he never played professionally, but he always has to relive that glory moment because he felt like he never created any more glory moments in his life outside of that. That's what Ciara is reminding me of. Like, she's going to sit on the porch drinking wine and telling everybody about back when she used to be a superstar. You guys, back when I used to be on Billboard, back when I performed at BET, and everybody's like, oh my God, Ciara, shut the fuck up. I'm so tired of hearing this damn story. So, I didn't know she was a Scorpio too. That explains a lot. Listen, this isn't to drag Scorpio women. I mean, I think that all water signs do this to an extent. And literally anybody can do this, regardless of whatever sign you are. But I do notice with Scorpio women, more than other signs, maybe Cancer, I think, would be second right behind Scorpio women. They will get with somebody that they just see as, oh, this is somebody with potential and not, I actually truly really like this person. And then they try and they'll be so agreeable with, oh my God, yes, I want to be a football wife. That sounds like amazing. I don't want to do anything else except show up and support you at every game and then sit in the house with the babies all day long. And then the second that it's like, oh, like I pinned you down with a couple kids or marriage or whatever, wherever they think that they've got you, that you can't leave. And then it's like, let me just keep needling you until you turn into the person that I actually wanted to be with, or until I have the life I actually wanted, rather than being upfront with themselves and saying, this person is amazing, or yes, this person can give you a lot of the things you want, but they're not your person. Let them go and wait for your person who is 100% of what you're looking for and 100% can live the life that you want. Not somebody that you have to break down or force or manipulate into what it was that you really truly thought you wanted. So, like I said, anybody of any sign can do that. I just see it the most from Cancer and Scorpio women. So, anyways, guys, I have to wrap it up because I was supposed to get off here 20 minutes ago. We kept getting sidetracked anyways, but I got to take my kid to this party and now we're going to have to rush. So, if you guys wanted to book your own personal private reading, psychicbellalove.com, and until Sunday midnight tomorrow, you can use code WEEKENDS at checkout for an extra 45% off any appointment, excluding emergency appointments. And I never raised the rates from last month, so you're still getting it at a discounted price plus an extra discount. And you can go to patreon.com/psychicbellalove if you want to join our community. That is the only place I accept requests. And everything that we talk about over there is uncensored, and I don't post it over here later on. And I hope everybody has a good weekend. All of my info will be in the description box, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.